Hello, hello. Welcome to this live session. I'm so excited for this one, guys. I'm so excited. So, as you join, please just say, Hey, I hear you. I can see you correctly. And let's get right into it because today I'm coming to give it to you back to back to back. Back to back to back. Let me see your comments, guys. If you're not invited somebody to this live session, you are very wrong. And if you're not in the Flourish Code, you are very wrong because this is just going to be a small part of the Flourish Code curriculum. But yeah, we're inviting you if you're not a part. So no problem. Come and learn with us. Come and join us. And I'm really excited for this one. 5 beliefs that every firstborn was raised to never question. And when I even say every firstborn, I think it doesn't just apply to just firstborns. It applies to many of us who were raised in a particular context, especially the African context. You guys know that I always come for you Africans because there are a lot of things that we have to deal with. Are you guys ready? 5 beliefs that let me use the word that you were raised to never question, and which might be the very beliefs that are limiting you today. So nobody sat you down and told you these things, right? Nobody said, okay, here are the 5 rules that you have to live by for the next 30 years of your life. No, you just absorbed it, right? In the silence, in what God praised and what God punished, in who got attention and who got told to be quiet. And today, some of what you call this is who I am is actually just who you were trained to be. So I want to show you 5 beliefs that you were raised to never question and how they have been quietly running your life ever since. I am Daniela, and if this is your first time seeing me, welcome. I run the secure mentorship and our flagship program, the Flourish Code, which I love, our inner circle, which is a 1 year emotional literacy and well-being program. 1 year and your life. Listen, Flourish Code is not hype. Maybe the flourishers in the chat should be telling you Flourish Code is not hype. Oh. The things you learn there, you'll never learn them anywhere. You'll never hear them anywhere. Okay, so here's what makes these beliefs so powerful. What makes them powerful is that they don't feel like beliefs. They feel like facts. Like this is just how life is. So you don't wake up thinking, I believe my worth depends on what I produce, for example. You just feel guilty resting. You just feel anxious when you're not being useful, when you're not being productive, right? Just being quiet and calm and silent feels like a threat to your being. So that's the trick. A belief you were raised inside of doesn't announce itself. It just becomes the water that you swim in. So as I go through these 5 beliefs, I want you to notice, and I'm always big on this in the Flourish Code. Please notice, not judge, just notice. Notice which ones you recognize in your own body, not just in your head. Because it takes a lot of self-awareness to bring these beliefs to your consciousness. So you really have to know, don't be judgmental with your emotions. Don't be judgmental. I always tell the flourishers, don't be judgmental when you notice your emotions. You have to notice an emotion and then you're like, no, a Christian should not be feeling this, or a big woman like me should not be feeling this. Okay, you feel it. Can we move on? Can we work from there? You already feel it. Can you just be honest? We need a lot of honesty in our becoming journey. If you're not honest to say that, okay, maybe this is not the ideal, but this is where I am, and then begin to work from there, you have a lot of trouble. You have a lot of trouble. Okay. So the first belief number one, is that your worth is tied to what you produced. So if you were praised mostly for achievement, maybe you were praised for your grades, you were praised for your performance, you were praised for being the responsible one. There are many of us that we have certain notations that are just attributed to us: the quiet one, the calm one, the responsible one, the one who always, who doesn't disturb like the other people. Your nervous system learned early that I am loved when I am these things. That's why as parents we have to be very careful with the labels that we put on our children. It might seem innocent, but your child, or as in our growing up process, we take on whatever labels are giving us as identity. I always say that a child doesn't have an identity apart from the environment into which they are born. That's all you know. So if you are born into an environment that tells you this is what you are, this is what you are, this is what you are, your brain doesn't say, oh, as a child, it doesn't say, oh, I have to distinguish. No, this person is just saying this thing because maybe this person is doing their own. No, your brain takes it all on. Your brain takes it all on as this is my identity. Okay. So you now learn that I am loved when I am this thing. So rest feels dangerous. Stillness feels like you're falling behind. And when you're not producing, a quiet voice it seems like a quiet voice in your head is telling you, what are you even worth right now? Get up, don't be lazy, don't be right. But this is the truth. Your worth was never supposed to be conditional. Your worth is assigned to you the moment you existed, not the moment you became useful. Are you hearing that? Your worth was never supposed to be conditional. Your worth is assigned to you the moment you exist. Even before, the Bible says what? That I have known you, I have formed you in your mother's womb. So even before you were even fully conceived, there was already an intentionality and there was already worth assigned to you. Before you even did anything. Before you did anything. Okay? Are we ready? Belief number 2 is this: keeping the peace matters more than telling the truth. Keeping the peace matters more than telling the truth. Okay, many of us were raised in homes or maybe in culture, whatever, where harmony was the highest value. So don't cause wahala, don't cause problems, don't embarrass this family, smile through it, no matter what you are going through. And there's this popular movie, Monica, I am the Akamu, I am the and I may be pepper and I may be salt, right? And then if you have watched the movie, you understand what I'm talking about. Just go through it for the sake of the family. No matter what happens, just smile through it. No, you've become the glue, quote unquote, the glue that holds the family together. But that has come at the cost of your identity. It has come at the cost of your worth. It has come at the cost of your esteem. It has come at the cost of who you are. So you become excellent at reading the room, right? You're able to hold people, manage other people's emotions, manage things. This is how you're the person that is keeping everything together, right? But you've become terrible at saying what you actually think. You've become terrible at owning your opinion and being able to voice it. And that cost is not small. You can spend a whole life being liked by everyone, yet known by no one. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? The cost isn't small, the cost of yourself. Don't come to the end of your life and realize that everybody liked you, but nobody truly knew you. Even yourself, you do not truly know yourself. Hmm, that's a dangerous place to be. Dangerous place to be. Dangerous place to be. Are we together? Are we together? Let me see in your comment in the comment section. So belief number 3 is this: that needing help is a weakness. That needing help is a weakness. So if you are the capable one, you are the strong one, the one who had it all together, you likely learned that needing anything from anyone was a kind of failure. So now you do everything by yourself. You've entered a hyper independent mode. You carry things silently. You wait until you're completely depleted before you even consider asking for support. And even then, you apologize for asking. So you're asking for help, but you're apologizing for. And one of the things I always tell the flourishers, that some things that you should not apologize for. Don't apologize for being human. We all need somebody. We all need a shoulder to lean on. We all need somebody to lean on. We live in an interdependent world. It's not total dependence, but it's not independence either. There's an interdependence. I need you. You need me. Okay. And there's a reframe to this, right? The people who taught you this self-sufficiency, who taught you this hyper independence, were often just people who had no one that they themselves could lean on, right? So that's not strength, though. That's not strength. That's isolation being passed down. Mm. That's isolation being passed down, but it's disguising itself in strength. It's disguising itself in strength clothing. Are we together? Are we getting these things? Okay. Okay. Belief number 4. Belief number 4 is that your role in the family defines who you are allowed to become. That your role in the family defines who you are allowed to become. And usually the firstborn who has in our cultures, right, usually have the responsibility for everyone, responsible for everyone. And then the lastborn, usually the person who never gets taken seriously. Okay. So you become the strong one who is allowed to fall apart. You become the peacemaker who is allowed to be angry. Then you become angry is the end of the world. Like how dare like you don't have the right to difficult emotions. Hmm? And these roles they get assigned early, usually without nobody naming them, and usually without anybody really meaning harm. Most of the time, people don't really mean harm in the very intentional sense. It's usually the result of a lot of ignorance, and that's why I exist. That's why secure mentorship exists, because that ignorance gap was be breached. And then we spend decades of our lives living inside a character that is never that is not truly us. That's not truly us. So the question that is worth asking in this kind of situation is, if nobody in your family needed you to play that particular role anymore, who would you be? If nobody in your family needed you to play that particular role anymore, who would you be? Who would you be? Think about it. Take some time to just think about it, to think about it, to think about it, to think about it. Are we together? Are we together? Are we together? Belief number five. Belief number five is this, that emotions are inconvenience. Many of us believe that our emotions are just an inconvenient part of our life. It's just that part of your life that you just have to deal with. It's just that yucky part, that inconvenient part that how man go do, you just have to deal with it. No. Emotions are information. Many of us were taught, whether directly or indirectly, that big feelings are a problem to manage or they're a mess to clean up quickly, rather than them being a message to be listened to. Your emotions are information. They are messages you have to learn to discern. They are messages you have to learn to decipher. So we hear things like, stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. Or maybe you hear things like, you're fine. Even when you feel like something is not right. And maybe as especially at, that's why many of us grow up emotionally immature. But because in moments when you had these heavy emotions, you were told that stop that nonsense or you're fine or don't be so sensitive, okay? So what happened is that you learned to shrink your emotional world down to the size that was convenient for everyone else. You learn to shrink your emotional world down to the size that was convenient for everyone else. And now, even as an adult, you don't know how to actually feel something until it's already overflowing, until it has come to a place where it just takes over you. That is the only moment when it comes to your awareness and when you're able to actually experience the emotion. Listen, this is a truth that I want you to absorb. Your emotions are not the problem. Your emotions are never the problem. Never. Listen, never. There's no one exception. Your emotions are data. They are telling you what matters to you, what has hurt you, what needs your attention, what your needs are. You know, your emotions are telling you what your needs are. One of us don't even know what our needs are. No, I mean this phase in my life where the Holy Spirit is teaching me something about me being able to identify my needs. I never realized just how much I am unable to identify what my needs are, because I've become so used to not having needs, so that another person will not be inconvenienced, to not having needs so that I will not cause trouble or stir the waters. I'm in the phase now of realizing, and the prompts that the Holy Spirit gave me, which I use I've been using it so frequently, is imagine a world where you could get everything that you wanted to get. What would you want? And I realized that many times when I imagine that scenario, what I actually want is a need, something that is important to me. I mean, I believe that our needs are not important, right? We believe that when we say things like God will provide your needs, not your wants, many of us think that it means that God will only provide you the bare minimum. Ah, many of us think that it means that God will only provide you the very bare minimum. For example, maybe if you need a transportation means to travel, God will not give you that nice Benz. God will give you an old bicycle. That's the way many of us think of it when you think about God. Not because God will give you only what you need. So why should He give you something that is lavish or really exceptional? Many of us we have no mindset of royalty. We call ourselves Christians, we call ourselves this, we call ourselves that, but the reality of our belief doesn't reflect I am a chosen generation. I am a, not So you believe that God will give you that worn out bicycle because He gives you. No, needs are higher than wants. Many of us think that needs are lower than wants. Needs are actually higher than wants, because what God is saying is that He will give you the one that will satisfy you deeply. That's what He's saying. So it is a higher concept than the concept of just a wants. God is saying that, okay, this is what you want, but listen, I'll give you something higher. I'll give you what you truly need. I just thought to add this. I digress, but I just thought to add this. I think that is important information for somebody right now. Our emotions are always data. Okay, they are telling you information. Please learn to understand the information. That's why we have an amazing course coming up, the emotional intelligence course. If you reach out to the number that's on your screen, you're able to even get registered for that course. You're able to get registered for that course. In that course, you will live when it comes to emotional intelligence, understanding why you feel the way you do and being able to manage your emotions. That course. So why does all of this matter? All what I've been talking about, the beliefs, the this. Why does it matter? Here's what I want you to sit with, okay? None of these five beliefs means that something is broken with you. No. What they mean is that you adapted brilliantly to the environment that you were raised in. Every one of these beliefs keep you safe, they keep you accepted, they keep you loved inside that specific system, whether it be a family system, a school system, a cultural system. But now your environment has changed. You're not a child anymore. You're not a child anymore. And a belief that once protected you can now be the very thing quietly ruining your life, ruining the life that you're trying to build. That's probably the reason why you struggle maybe with your emotional and mental well-being. Probably the reason why you struggle with your emotional and mental well-being. Are we together? Are we together? So this is exactly why the work that we do inside the Flourish Code, which is our 1 year, the current code is a 6 month program, right? But in 2027 it becomes a year program, a year's program. I can't wait. It's so important. It's so important because identity isn't something that you just have to talk about. It's something you have to rebuild. You rebuild it piece by piece. You rebuild it belief by belief. You rebuild it with real tools, a real community walking through this, walking through it all. You start with we start identity for a reason, right? Because you cannot build a flourishing life or mental emotional well-being without to be building your identity is impossible. It just doesn't happen. And you can surely find the information to join the Flourish code on your screen. So don't wait. Flourish code is not hype. It's only when you enter that you understand what I'm talking about. That it's not hype. It's not hype. Listen, I always tell the Flourish as skills. All you need for your emotional and mental well-being set of skills. It's not a matter of this person just has their life easy or this person is just a happy person. It's skills that you have never been taught. That's all. Once you learn it, that's all. That's all. Once you learn it, you do the work. That's all. That's all. That is all. Are we together? Are we together? Okay. I don't know if there was a little hitch or something. Okay. So now I can't end it there, right? I can't end it there because we always talk about the solutions. I have explained to you the beliefs that are holding you back. Now I'm going to go through each one and give you what to do about it. What to do about it. You can't listen, if you're going to flourish mentally, emotionally, if you're going to be a secure individual, you have to do the work. So when I give these exercises, please don't just keep them as good information to have. Have your pen and paper, take down notes, act on them, even if it's just one little step at a time. One little step at a time. It must not be dramatic things. Flourishers know that it's not about drama. It's not about doing listen, it's one leap of faith, one step of faith. Because a lot of this work is faith, oh, to step out of your comfort zone, to do something that feels uncomfortable to you, to do something that makes you feel a bit one way. It's all about faith. It's all about you taking steps of faith here and there. So the Christians, it's time for you to act. That's why the Bible says that there is no faith without works, because it is the work doesn't make sense without faith, and faith doesn't make sense if there is no action. So let's do this. I'm going to go through each one. I'm going to go through each one and then we're going to have solutions. I can't leave it here because I have to show you how these things hide in your everyday life. I want to do about them right now. We're going deeper. We are going deeper. So if you go back to the first belief that your worth is tied to your production, okay, how does it even show up in your life? For example, you cannot just watch a movie without also be cracking a goosey, folding laundry. So you feel guilt for taking a nap on a Saturday afternoon. Like people are not. Why should I be sleeping when I don't understand? So if you don't sleep, that all your problems are going to be solved. I was just we had a session recently in the Flourish Code about peace as a skill, and I was talking about rest and how rest is not a reward for productivity. It is part of the productive process. There are ideas that will come to you like this. You don't know that it's that rest that you will take, that moment of not doing anything, that moment of silence, that moment of quiet that will give you the capacity, the ideas to move forward. For many of you, right, when things start getting pressured in your life, the first thing that drops, for example, is your quiet time with God. That's the first thing that drops on the list. Because you're getting busy, one of the first things that you will sacrifice is that quiet time with God. How? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. In pressure moments in my life, there are things that I know that if I give this one up, my life, you have to understand listen, there's a principle called the Pareto principle. There's a 20% of your actions that are producing like 80% of your results. Many times, rest is that 20%. And when I mean rest, I don't just mean sleep. I mean the highest form of rest is being the presence of God, genuine presence of God. And I'm not talking about dramatic quiet time. I'm not talking about you necessarily, because that some quiet times are not sustainable. Your time that I spend with God, that's the reason why one of the things that drops first also, because you have made it so unsustainable. You want to have quiet time for 3 hours every morning. How? Ah, ah, maybe some people it's sustainable for them more. But the epitome of rest is being in the presence of God. So how can you be in the presence of God be the first thing that you drop when things are difficult, when things get busy? Busy. For some of you, the first thing that drops is going to church. So yes, that's Sunday, 2 hours in church, or let's say 3 hours if you're considering travel time or whatever. That's the first thing that gets dropped when life gets busy. As in, that 3 hours that you have spent in church is what is going to solve all the problems in your life that you're sacrificing. The first thing that you sacrifice without understanding that when you spend time with God and you rest in Him, that is what empowers you to go deal with other things in your lives. Many of us are so unaware of the Pareto principle and how it actually plays out in our lives. There are some things that you should not give up. There are some things, it's in those moments sometimes that you're reminded of your worth, that you're empowered, that you get ideas. What you have been struggling with can be solved like this, can be solved like this. So let me ask you this question. When was the last time you rested without earning the rest first? Why do you feel like you always need to earn your rest? Sit with that for a second. I'm not asking you this to judge you, okay? I just want you to notice. Remember what I mentioned about noticing. So this is something that you can do. This weekend, try resting for just 10 minutes before your to-do list is finished, not after it is finished. And notice what comes up in your body. 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 Are we together? That discomfort that you're going to feel because you're going to feel uncomfortable it's not a sign that something is wrong. It is the discomfort of the old belief. Many of our beliefs are shaken to be uncomfortable. That's why you have to get comfortable with discomfort. Not everything that feels uncomfortable means that you should not be doing it. Not every time that you feel guilt that it is God's conviction. Sometimes the guilt that you feel, the shame that you are feeling, many of us cannot distinguish from that guilt, shame of the system and the conviction of God. So every time we feel guilt, we feel like it's conviction that means that we have to change direction. No, there's sometimes that you feel guilty about something and you still do it and you still sit in it because you realize that that guilt is coming from the shift in the limiting belief. You are shaking a belief and it's okay. It's okay. The discomfort is okay. It will not kill you. You will be all right. If you're a flourisher, you will understand you'll be all right. You'll be all right. I'll be all right. All of us will be all right in the end. All of us will be all right in the end. Okay, let's go to the second belief that I mentioned, where you value peace over truth. And where does this one hide? It hides, for example, in that meeting where you disagreed with the decision, but you said, "Oh, it's okay, yes. How does it sound? Oh, it sounds good. It's a really good idea." Whereas you know that you disagree. Sometimes you don't even know that you disagree because you have never been in touch with your, as I mentioned, you have never come to reality, you have never connected with your own needs and your own opinions. So many of us that we don't even know our own opinions and we don't even know. We're not even aware of our own opinions. It also shows up, for example, in that relationship where you've been quietly resentful of that person for months over something that they never actually said out loud. Right? Maybe in the family group chats, you type the message, you reread it, you soften it, then you decide that you're not going to say this after all. Because of these beliefs that we have, many of us live in resentment of people. We come across as very agreeable, very soft, very, but you are living in constant resentments, chronic resentment. You're constantly the person that everybody describes as you're so easy to get along. Why privately you feel unseen? Because being easy to get along has become more important to you than being truly known. So ask yourself this question. Where in your life right now are you keeping the peace, sorry, at the cost of being honest? Whether it's with yourself or with someone else. Sometimes with yourself, you're not honest even with yourself. So this is something that you can do. Pick one low stakes situation. That means a situation where the risks are low. Okay. If things don't work out, not the end of the world, you'll be okay, right? Don't pick a situation where if things don't work out, the consequences will be terrible. Don't do that. Don't do that, guys. Don't do that. Sorry, 1 second. Are we together? So I was saying that you should pick a low stake situation. Pick a low stake situation and say the truth. Say the true thing instead of the comfortable thing, right? Not the biggest truth that you've ever. Start small, Abby. Start small. Start small to prove to your nervous system that truth doesn't have to end in disaster. That truth doesn't have to end in disaster. Okay, let's go to our third belief about needing help in weakness. This one, it shows up as martyrdom. Like many of us have a martyr complex. We just feel like we always have to be the sacrificial sheep. Even after Jesus has died for all of us, you want to still be Jesus. Hey, what does Reverend Funke say? You want to be El Shaddai. If you are El Shaddai, you shall die. That looks like doing everything yourself, then feeling secretly bitter that no one has offered to help you. Many of us are not really comfortable. You know that the whole pattern of um people will not do things the way I want it to be done, so I'll just do it myself. It's trauma. It's trauma. So you just decide to do everything by yourself because people will not do it exactly the way. Ah ah ah. Hey God, it shows up as waiting until you are in a crisis before you accept support because a crisis feels legitimate enough reason to need someone, right? So when you just feel tired, it feels like this is not reason enough for me to ask for help. It shows up in how you respond when someone tries to care for you. You you might deflect the compliment. You might begin to suspect the person or the person just being kind. You might change the subject when someone asks you how you're really doing. How are you really doing? Right? You quickly rush to reassure them that you're fine. All of us always say we are fine, we are fine. Before they've even finished the sentence, you have really told them that you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, without even thinking, am I really fine? Or even if you know that you're not really fine, but you just like you cannot disclose it. So this is a reflection question for you. Who in your life is actually available to support you right now? And when did you last see them? When did you last see them? Before you reach a breaking point. Don't it's always when you are at the end of the end of the end. When did you last go to that person and just admit your need, even if not the crisis moment? Are we together? One small practice for you that you can do, okay? Ask for one small thing this week. Ask for one small thing. Don't wait till you need it desperately. Don't wait till the crisis has arrived. Ask for one small thing. Let someone show up for you while you are still okay. Mm, let someone show up for you. Let someone show up for you while you are still okay. How we do this? I know these things seem simple, but by the time you have to start acting on them, that way you realize that your beliefs are deeply rooted. Your beliefs begin to surface to you. Your beliefs begin to surface to you. Okay, next belief. The next belief is that your role defines who you're allowed to become. That's what we talked about, right? That was belief number 4. This one shows up most clearly at family gatherings. So the moment you walk maybe back into your childhood home or something and you begin to shrink, or maybe you enter a new environment and you begin to shrink, you begin to make yourself small, begin to perform a version of yourself that isn't quite who you actually are, right? It's not who you are anymore. Maybe it used to be who you are, but it's no longer who you are, but you just perform that version so that you will not, you just remain small. Suddenly you feel like you're 7 years old again. Suddenly you go back to that role of being the quiet one, the responsible one, because you don't know how to break out of that label that has been assigned to you, that role that has been assigned to you. Maybe it's the invisible one, maybe it's a funny one. Maybe you're no longer even a funny person. You don't know how to feel like cracking jokes left, right, center, but because you're assigned the label of the funny one, you now begin to just be cracking jokes that make you so uncomfortable. Listen, sometimes it even shows up in your career choices. It shows up in your career choices. So people who quietly abandon a dream because it doesn't match the role that their family has assigned to them. So you have to become this, you have to be sensible. You have been labeled as the sensible one in your family. How can you go on and be what that thing that you want to be? You want to be a mental health coach. You have to be a mental health coach. You be sensible. How would that feed you? How would that or you become the strong one who doesn't admit that they are struggling. Okay. Last month was Men's Health Month, and there was a heavy emphasis on men's mental health. Because of this belief, many men are struggling, feeling like they cannot open up, they cannot ask for help, they cannot be the one in need. I'm just here to tell you that that's not true. That's a belief that you have held on to for so long. That is a lie, a complete lie. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's not. So here's a reflection question. What is one thing that you have wanted to do? You know that you want to do this thing. One thing that you want to become that doesn't fit the role you were assigned by your family, by your school, by your culture, by your nation. Cameroonians don't do this. We don't really achieve things like that. We don't get to this level. We don't, Nigerians don't. I think about it. But you know that there is something, there are some strings pulling at your heart that this is meant for you. So this is what practice you can do. Next time you're around that system that you're struggling with, maybe it's a family system or whatever, and the exact moment you feel yourself shift into that old role, notice it. Notice it, okay? You don't have to change it yet. I'm just asking you to notice. That's all. That's all. The moment you're able to notice, you have done the majority of the work, I'm telling you. The hardest part is noticing what is playing out. That's the hardest part. Noticing what is happening. That's the hardest part. That's the hardest part. That's the hardest part. Okay. Let's go to the next belief. The last belief, right? That emotions are inconvenience. That was the last belief, right? That was the fifth. This shows up as, for example, not knowing how you feel until you're already crying. Until the emotion becomes so strong that it just pours out. It might be you just getting angry at somebody that doesn't even deserve your anger and you don't even know where it's coming from. It shows up as, how are you doing? I don't know. I don't know. I'm fine. I'm fine. That's become your default answer to how are you feeling, how are you doing. It might show up even in parenting too. Many of you are listening to now, your parents. You move quickly to fix a child's tears instead of sitting with them because their emotions make you uncomfortable in a way that you have never been taught, you were never taught to name. A child's emotion just makes you feel like, yuck, yucky, what's happening? I have to stop this, I have to stop this. I have to stop this. And the funny part is that many people like this usually end up being the parents who are yellers. So even though you're averse to emotion, you're also usually the most emotional. Because being a yeller, a parent who cannot communicate without yelling, is part of the emotional immaturity or an emotional illiteracy, to put it that way. Okay. So let me give you a reflection, something to reflect on. Okay. Right now, in this moment, simple reflection. What are you actually feeling? Can you name what you're feeling right now? Not what you should be feeling, because that is another issue. We're always thinking about what is what is actually happening. Are you able to name your emotions apart from fine, sad, happy? Do you know other emotions? So the way you can do this week, 3 times this week, pause and simply name what you're feeling out loud. Just name what you're feeling at various random moments and write it. Maybe it's your phone in a journal. Write it. It's not about fixing the emotion. It's not about judging the emotion. It's just about sorry. It's just about naming it. Just about naming it. That's the first skill. Flourishers here know I've done this skill before. You guys should be experts at this by now. because everything else built on that. Everything else built on that. That's all. That's all. So let me give you a bonus belief. Okay, there's a belief that many of us have that success means never needing anyone, and I've talked about this already in many ways. But I just want to bring another perspective. Okay, another perspective, and this one is really tricky because our culture celebrates this self-made independence. I don't need anybody, and it sounds like strength. And listen, there's a real healthy version of independence that is strength. But there's a distorted version as well that many of us have absorbed when needing people becomes like evidence that you have not made it yet. So if you're raised watching a parent do everything alone, maybe you're coming from a single home, a single listen, if you're born in a single parent situation, there are some situations that automatically, if I find somebody who has been born in that situation, in that kind of scenario, and doesn't have some levels of trauma, then I'll really like kudos to the parents because they must have been very, very informed parents. Single parents situations. The one that is automatic, if you're born in a polygamous home, it is trauma by default. I don't even need to sit with you. You can deny it. Listen, you can say, no, our own was like this, our own it's not true. Just that design, just that family design is that. So I was saying that if you're born maybe to a parent, you watch the parents do everything by themselves, financially, emotionally, taking care of you guys, everything. Maybe you might have learned that this is simply what being an adult looks like. A loneliness that gets rebranded as maturity. It gets rebranded as maturity. Okay, 1 second, guys. Are we together? Are we together? Can you guys just confirm that we are together? Okay. But listen, humans were never designed to do life alone. Oh. We're never designed to do life solo. One of the worst things, like that's why prison. That's why the greatest punishment that people are given is usually to be in prison because that isolation is not a part of the way we're designed to function. It's not. Every study on well-being, for example, on and even the account of flourishers, right? Isolation isn't a strength. It's not a sign of strength. Listen, it's a sign of an old wound that never got to heal in connection. And next month in the Flourish Call, we're going to be talking about attachments. Oh, many of you are avoid. Let me not go into that one. Let me not. This is not a Flourish Friday webinar. Let me not go into that. For many of us, this isolation, this independence is a wound. It's a wound that never got to heal in connection. Many of us have never experienced true connection that healed some of these wounds. Because in many of our situations, connection didn't feel safe enough to risk. Connection felt expensive. Needing people felt shameful. So ask yourself, if needing people wasn't shameful, who would I let come closer into my life right now? Who would I let? Who would I let? Who would I let? Let me give you a final belief. Bonus belief number 7. This is the belief that if I feel it, it must be true. If I feel it, it must be true. And this might be a bit confusing because I'm always telling you to validate your emotions are valid, but it doesn't mean that they're always true. Your emotions are always valid, but they're not always true. That's why I thought about the whole guilt thing. Remember when I talked about guilt? Remember when I talked about guilt and discomfort? Things will feel discomfort, but you have to still act irrespective. Sometimes things will bring feelings of guilt, but you have to recognize, I know what this is just a system guilt, not a personal guilt, not conviction from the Holy Spirit, and I have to still act despite the guilt that I'm feeling. And this is the opposite of belief number 5, right? Some of us weren't taught to suppress emotion, right? We were rather taught to trust. So it's a reverse. Why are there some people that were taught to suppress every emotion? There are others that were taught that just trust every emotion that you have. Trust it. Trust every emotional wave without ever learning to question it. So if you feel anxious, you assume that something is genuinely wrong. If you feel rejected, you assume that you are actually rejected. No. If you feel like a failure, then you just believe that okay, if I feel like a failure, means I am a failure. You take that feeling as a fact. Feelings are not always facts. The fact that you are feeling that is the fact, but the feeling itself is not a fact in all situations, right? It is just a signal. It's a signal about something, and many times we don't discern the signal correctly. Sometimes it's a signal about exhaustion, a signal about an old wound, a signal about a limiting belief. Sometimes it's even just hunger. Sometimes just low blood sugar, hunger. So that this shows up, this can show up, this belief can show up as you reacting to the feeling instead of the actual situation. So you feel upset, you just blow up. You feel annoyed, you just explode. Instead of thinking about what's actually the situation, what's actually happening, and putting your thinking cap on. Many of us don't know how to put on your thinking cap and think. Use your logical brain, okay? Don't be ruled by your emotions. You feel emotions, but you don't act from emotions. You act from your thinking brain. You act on your thinking brain, but you must feel the emotion. Don't suppress it, or it will be buried in your body somewhere and it will show up later in life. It will show up. It will show up. You cannot listen if you don't process emotions, if you just suppress them, it's just a matter of time till it comes back like a monster and deals with you. Okay, so this is what you should understand. A feeling is real. A feeling is real. Okay, you are really feeling it, but that doesn't automatically mean that the story attached to the feeling is true. Do you hear that? The feeling is real, but it doesn't automatically mean that the story attached to the feeling is true. You can feel I feel abandoned is real, okay, but they abandoned me is a conclusion that you have to reconsider. It's not always true. The fact that you feel abandoned is real, but the fact that they abandoned you might not always be the correct story to attach to that feeling. Are we together? So ask yourself this question: what's a feeling that I've recently had that I treated as fact? And what might the actual facts have been? What is a feeling that I treated as fact? And reconsider what the actual facts might actually have been. Okay, guys, we're rounding off. We're rounding off. And I try to really clear about something, okay? None of this is about blaming your parents, blaming your family, blaming your culture, blaming your nah. Okay, most of the people who handed us these beliefs were handed the exact same beliefs, the exact same scripts by whoever came before them, maybe by their own parents, their own culture, their own survival circumstances, especially in our Black heritage culture where there's a lot of was like a history, massive history of colonization, massive history of slavery. Those things not go without consequences. Those things not go without consequences. Many of our parents and grandparents lived in situations of survival, and these were the beliefs that helped them survive. But you're not in those situations anymore, and you can unlearn those beliefs. You can come out of those patterns. If, for example, the parents who taught you that needing help is weakness was very much likely not allowed to need help themselves. A family that prioritized peace over truth, for example, maybe they were protecting themselves in a history where conflict was genuinely dangerous. Slavery, colonialism. Okay. So these beliefs were often at some point survival strategies. They kept people safe. They kept people safe at some point. The problem is not that those beliefs existed. The problem is that we have inherited them without anyone ever going back to check whether they still fit the life that we are actually living now. That's what I'm talking about. That's the work that has to be done. It's not about rejecting where you're coming from. It's about choosing, finally choosing, consciously choosing what you are going to carry forward and what you are finally going to put down. So, let me answer a few questions that you're probably wondering about right now. One of the questions might be, what if I recognize all seven of these things in myself? Okay. Then means that you're human. That's all I can tell you. It means that you're human and you're paying attention, which are both good things. Nobody will walk away from this session without having recognized any of these things. And the goal isn't to score zero. The goal is just awareness. Gain awareness about these things. Gain awareness about these beliefs, one belief at a time, and begin to challenge them. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Another question somebody might be asking themselves is, how long does it take to unlearn all of these things? Okay. And if I'm being honest, it takes longer than a single live session. It takes longer than one video on my channel. These beliefs, these beliefs were built over years, so built over decades maybe. Awareness starts shifting things immediately. Even today, the awareness that you're gaining will start shifting something within you. But the deeper rewiring is a process, and that process needs practice, it needs reflection, and it needs other people walking the journey with you. Another question that someone might be asking is, what if my family doesn't understand why I am doing this work of breaking patterns, of unlearning beliefs, of working on myself? And all I'll say is that is common, and it's okay. It's okay. They must not agree. You can honor where you came from and still choose differently going forward. It's not an either or. If either I honor them or I work on myself. No, you can do both. You can honor where you're coming from and saying that, you know what, with my own life, this is how I would do things going forward with the knowledge that I have received. They are not in conflict. That's actually a big part of what we work through together in the Flourish Code. So, what I know after doing this, belief reframing, core beliefs, changing perceptions, inner work, inner healing, what I know is that naming a belief on a video or in a video is a start. It's a good place to start. Okay, it's a genuinely good place to start. But naming is an actually rebuilding your life around what you've learned. That's are two separate things. It takes structure, it takes tools, it takes some level of guidance and mentorship. It takes being around people who understand the work that you're doing and are doing the same work to actually begin to restructure your life. And that's the reason why we created the Flourish Code. The Flourish Code is a 1 month mentorship program. And we always start with identity because everything that we build, emotional intelligence, emotional regulation, boundaries, purpose, work, all of that sits on the foundation of your identity. What you believe about yourself, what you believe about other people, what you believe about the world around you. So if you want to join us, please, please don't hesitate. I'll keep saying it, the Flourish Code is not hype. It's until you join the Flourish Code that you understand. All the information is on the screen. Inside the Flourish Code, you get real frameworks, you get real practices. Flourishers, please help me to testify in the comment section. You get real frameworks. The work is intense. The first cohort we're currently what is this in the second month of a 6 month program, and the testimonies are mind blowing. The value we always joke about the fact that the money has already expired ever since. It's intense work. 6 months, a 6 month program. Second cohort, from the second cohort, it becomes a 1 year program. Your life can never be the same. Never. Your life can never be the same. I'm not going to be giving you more content to watch. No, I'm doing structured work. You're getting a community that is doing it alongside you, which I think is the most important part, right? If belief number 6, if taught us anything today, was that you're not meant to do this work all by yourself, right? If one of the 7 beliefs felt uncomfortably familiar today, if it felt uncomfortably familiar for you, any of the beliefs that I mentioned, that discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It's a sign that you're finally hit something important within you. It's a sign that you're finally ready to work on yourself, to look, to notice things. And that readiness is what the Flourish Code is built for. Okay? So, before you go, of everything that we have covered today, which belief did you recognize most in yourself? Let me hear. I'll in the comment section. What belief did you recognize most in yourself? Tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me. Tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And yeah, see you where we flourish. See you where we flourish. I hope to see you in the Flourish Code. We're here every Tuesday or Wednesday, 7 p.m. Turn on your notifications, put on subscribe. Let's do this. Every week you can return for some amazing content. All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye.